Welcome to Restart at Any Age. This is Susan Douglas coming to you from the studio of Chez Serendip in beautiful Scotts Valley. Chez Serendip is a 6-acre creative sanctuary in the Santa Cruz Mountains, where artists, healers, builders and dreamers gather to create a more beautiful world. You can find them on their website, chezserendip.com, CHEZSERENDIP, and on Instagram at Chez Serendip. So today we're back with Michelle McCune, a small animal veterinarian who first joined us to talk art with Mary Collis. And that was a while ago now. So today we're focusing on her deep marine passion. From an Illinois childhood dream of marine biology, through vet school at Wisconsin-Madison, to her restart on our coast as an Año Nuevo docent, whale watch volunteer and wildlife artist. We'll explore her journey, local conservation successes and the challenges ahead. Let's dive in. Welcome back, Michelle.
It's great to be here, Susan.
So, from the early dream, okay, let's start there. You grew up in Illinois, and it was far away from any ocean. Yet, in high school, you dreamed of becoming a marine biologist. So, what was it about marine animals and the sea that first captured your imagination?
I think it's just the mystery of the ocean, that there's an entire world that we can't see. Mm-hmm. And yet there's so many things that are existing and living these lives we can only dream of, down in the ocean depths. So I think it's just some of the mystery of it that makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, but how did that occur to you? You're in Illinois, you're not witnessing that. It's not around you, so there must have been a seed plant somewhere that started that.
That's a really good question. I always was fascinated with everything animals and wildlife, and I had my little magazine, Ranger Rick, that was produced by National Geographic for children, and I devoured every single episode of that magazine. So that probably is one place that introduced me to more of stories on whales and stories on dolphins, but I also remember some of the early conservation movements with the commercials with the harp seals and the people that would club the harp seals and kill the harp seals.
Oh, well,
as a child, that just kind of, those visions were of course very disturbing for anyone, but they really kind of made me say, we need to do better.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of just, seeing all of that with the seals, which of course are marine mammals, and then probably just some introduction from things I used to like to read.
Right. Okay. So although you had all of this brewing in you, in fact, around you, out-of-state tuition made marine biology not doable, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And if I was going to go anywhere into any sort of marine biology in Illinois, it would have been studying freshwater, brown fish and things of that sort. And I've always been fascinated by the mammals.
Yeah, the wildlife.
And that just wasn't going to happen, and it wasn't as interesting. I did once apply for a summer internship with the Shed Aquarium in Chicago, but I was not chosen for that. One of those early age, you start learning that you can't get everything you try for. So I definitely had an interest, but I hadn't really discovered the opportunity.
Yeah, right. So you chose veterinary school, which was still animals, of course.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and they held that course at Wisconsin-Madison, right?
Yeah, so I went to my undergraduate at University of Illinois, but I chose Madison for veterinary school. Basically, the location is beautiful. It's on a bunch of lakes. There's a lot of outdoor activities that you can do in Madison. And honestly, they had a big giraffe skeleton in their foyer.
Okay.
And the giraffe skeleton said, "I'm supposed to be here." It was a calling I didn't, again, quite understand. But
yeah, you just walked in, saw it, said, "That's me."
I walked in and saw it and said, "This is where I belong." Yeah.
Well, it was quite prophetic then at that point, considering what's developed, since then. But anyway, we'll cover that a little bit. So you've been a small animal veterinarian now for nearly 30 years, and you still practice part-time, right?
Correct.
And so what attracted you most to small animals to start?
Again, I think a lot of that was exposure.
Yeah.
You know, so almost everybody growing up is exposed to dogs and cats
Right.
in your own house or friends and family.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was a little bit of an awkward child, like socially, so I always felt companionship with the animals, and I always sought out animals wherever we were at.
Right.
So dogs and cats always meant a lot to me, and I'm also a relatively small built woman. So going into some of the larger animal medicine, I was very good at it during school, but I wasn't built for it.
Right,
And
right.
it's very taxing on you physically. So as much as I loved horses and I loved cattle and I liked working with them,
Yeah.
it just wasn't the right choice for me. And I also didn't grow up with it. I had farming relatives. I didn't grow up on a farm.
Right,
So I
right.
couldn't really understand the challenges that some of the large animal people would go through. So small animal made the most sense.
Yes, yes. And of course, yeah, very dear to treat cats and dogs. I mean, they're the sweetest things.
Yeah, they're parts of our family.
Yeah, exactly. But it must be a challenge at sometimes, though, when you've got a really sick animal and there's no help.
So a lot of people think that's the hardest part of the job,
Yeah.
is when we have to euthanize an animal.
Yeah.
And it might sound a little odd for me to say, but I think it's a blessing that we have that option. That we can say this animal is suffering and this is the best thing for the animal, and we can make the choice and make the decision. We see some people suffering and that there isn't that choice.
Right,
and
right.
I've gone through that with
there
family.
is in certain parts of the world, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Right now, seeing that, so being able to end suffering is actually a gift,
Yeah.
even though the actual act in making that decision is very difficult.
Yeah, I would imagine. Very, very tough. I think that would, even if I was inclined to have been a vet, I don't know if I could have faced it, Yeah. Very difficult. But anyway, you kept connected to the marine side somehow. It was still in your noodle, if you like.
Yeah, anytime we would travel, if there was like any place that was near an ocean and they had like whale watching as an option. I mean, I've gone whale watching on the East Coast. I've gone whale watching in South Africa. Like, I was always drawn to it. I always wanted to know what's out there.
Right.
So that kept coming in little bits and pieces through my life.
Yeah, right. So you moved to California.
Yeah, 9 years ago.
9 years ago. And how did you choose Santa Cruz area?
So part of that is just location with my husband's work.
Oh, right.
But we had lived here, 20 years ago, briefly, for about 6 months, again, for my husband's work. And at that time, I had read an article about the elephant seals out at Año Nuevo, which was a species that had been declared extinct 3 times, but through protections had made quite a comeback. So I had gone out and I was just fascinated by the whole story, because so many conservation stories are gloom and doom, and here's something positive and something that worked. So I had taken the kids out there when they were toddlers, and then when we moved back, I don't even think I had my house unpacked. And I said, we wanted to be somewhere that we could get to the coast easily, just again for outdoor activities. So we ended up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and then I headed back out to Año Nuevo and started talking with docents there, and found out about the volunteer program. And so it just kind of happened to be just the right place for me to be able to get out to nature,
right,
and my husband to be able to get to work.
Yeah, dreams come true.
Yeah, in odd ways.
Yeah, they do. And of course, that's the most amazing sanctuary for those seals.
Yeah.
I mean, my good Lord. I went on your tour, and you know a lot, and we're going to have to go into that a little bit. But wow, what a sight. There were thousands.
Yeah, and they never used to be found on the mainland.
Yeah.
So not until then, actually not until the 1960s.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, that's not that long ago.
No, it's not.
And now we can go and, depending on the time of the year, see anywhere from, maybe 20 to 30 to a couple thousand of the elephant seals just on the beach. I mean, and they're only found northern Mexico up through California. You won't see them anywhere else in the world.
Where did they go until the 60s? or 1960?
They were pretty much on islands, down like Channel Islands and Guadalupe Island in Mexico.
Okay.
So they were only on islands. So and then out to sea, like when they're feeding. They're not on land. They're only on land twice a year.
Right. So how did they fight Año Nuevo?
Yeah, well, that's like one of those big questions,
right.
With animals. So I think as their numbers started recovering, they started looking for more places, places to be able to haul out. And Año Nuevo is pretty much a protected area. It had become part of the state park system.
Yeah.
And there weren't any predators anymore. We didn't have bears, and people weren't killing them anymore. So it ended up they found a safe spot. The safe spot worked, so they kept coming back.
Well, it's a real sight, and people in the area should, if you're visiting the area, a strong recommendation. But is it certain times of the year that you can see them?
There's almost always some seals there, some population of the seals that are there.
Okay.
The biggest time to see the most seals when you get the big males, the females, the pups, the weaned pups. That's during the breeding season, which is from the middle of December to the end of March.
Right. Okay. So that's
so if you go
high
during
season.
If you go during the summer, sometimes some of the juvenile pups the juveniles will be there for what's called the juvenile haul out.
Yeah.
Or you'll see some of the males or the females come back to molt.
Right.
So
yeah.
they're just kind of like scattered populations throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah. They have this kind of hierarchy, don't they? Can you kind of talk about how they interact with each other?
Yeah, so during the molting seasons, they're pretty much same-sex groups that are coming back. And they're just coming to shed off a whole layer of skin and fur. And so they sit on the beach for about 4 to 6 weeks. And they shed all of that off. It's called a catastrophic molt. They're one of the only species that does this. During that time, the males will play spar. They actually have very low testosterone, so they're not fighting to fight.
Right.
But they do have to kind of build up their moves. So the males will play spar. They'll sometimes play in the water. When the females are there, they're pretty much just laying around on the beach and not doing too much else. There's not a lot of interaction. During the breeding season, it's very different. We will have the alpha males, or we call the beachmaster males, and those are the big sexually mature males that will protect a harem.
Right.
So they'll have a harem of females that will come, and the females basically come to wherever they had a pup before that succeeded. They'll come back to that same beach. And so the male that happens to be there might be different than the male that was there the year before. That they just basically want to not be pestered. They want to come, have their pup from the year before, nurse that pup, get pregnant again, and leave.
Right.
So that's their goal. And the males are just waiting for those females to be receptive to breeding. So they sit there and they're protecting them from all of the other males that are trying to breed them and harass them.
Right.
So they're just there for the protection, and the big males are there to protect those females until they're receptive to breeding. So then they have breeding rights.
Right, right. Because sadly, not all pups survive.
Actually, we only have probably about 40% of the pups that make it back to a year of age.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so some of them never make it off the beach. They can get trampled especially by the big males that are running through, or if they're fighting or whatever the males are doing. Sometimes they get separated from their mom and then they starve. So
because no other seal will feed them.
They really can't.
They can't.
Because their milk fat gets to be 55% milk fat. It's like clotted cream coming out. So with the females, they're putting so much energy into that milk that they cannot support more than one pup. Like they don't have twins.
Right.
And they can't support another one. So if one pup gets abandoned by its mom, then it's pretty much, unless it's a successful milk stealer, because sometimes they will steal milk, or sometimes a young female might think she can take more than one pup.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a bad situation for everybody involved.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they just cannot support it, because while they're on the beach, whether it be the molting season or the breeding season, they're not eating. So every seal on the beach, unless it's a nursing pup, is fasting. And their feeding grounds are actually about a 3,000-mile swim. It actually takes 2 to 4 weeks to get to their feeding grounds.
Yeah.
So they're not leaving the beach to feed, to replenish, their energy stores.
Right.
They're staying on the beach with that pup nonstop until that pup is 28 days. and by then the female comes and becomes receptive about 23 to 25 days, and then she'll allow the male to breed her, and then she has to leave because she's starving.
Right.
So then the pup's just left on the beach.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a rough life for an elephant seal.
Yeah,
But the
is.
amazing thing is these little pups are left on the beach. They don't know how to swim. They don't know what to eat, how to eat, or how to find it. And their feeding grounds are a couple thousand miles away.
Right.
And yet these pups, they leave the beach on their own, and they find food.
They do.
They figure out how to swim on their own. They play in puddles and everything. They figure out how to swim, and then they manage to find food, and they manage to come back to Año Nuevo.
Whoa.
With no one teaching them. It's like how, so these great migrations, how did they work?
Yeah, radar.
They've had all sorts of different theories. And pretty much every theory they have has been disproven. So
Really?
no one really knows how a lot of these great migrations work. But no one's teaching them. No one is showing them. They're not being taught. They're not following another adult.
No.
So, the fact that we even have 40% that make it back to a year,
Yes.
it's actually pretty amazing.
Oh, wow. So, what is it about their sensors then? There's got to be some kind of sensor going on
Yeah.
that drives them forward.
Yeah, I think so. What drives them to leave the beach is, when they're born, they're about 75 pounds and about 3 feet long. When they're weaned at 28 days, so in 4 weeks, they go from 75 pounds to 300 pounds. These little guys are so chubby that they can barely get their flippers down.
Yeah.
So they do have to lose some of that blubber, because if they tried to go out into the ocean, they'd be like little buoys. They wouldn't be able to dive down and feed even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So while they're on the beach and they're trying to figure things out and trying to figure out how their bodies work and figuring out how to swim, they're living off those fat stores. And
Right.
when they get down to about 150 pounds, something in their body triggers them and says, now it's time to go. And so they don't leave the beach until they are able to swim and to get below the surface to dive down.
Yeah.
So they have to lose some of that blubber.
Yeah.
So who knows what that trigger is?
Right.
But something triggers them and says, well, now it's time.
Yeah.
Now we're grown up. Now
Yeah.
it's time to go and learn to be an elephant seal. And somehow they find their way back. I think the latest theory is it has something to do with the mitochondria in the cells.
Oh.
Now, how that works.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, all of it's a mystery. I think that's why I'm so
Yeah.
fascinated by all of this.
Yeah.
Because every question you answer leads to more questions.
Yes. Spectacular. Nature is spectacular.
It is, and,
Oh my
it
gosh.
all works itself out.
Yes. Isn't it
So-
amazing? What an incredible world we are in, Wow. So, this spectacular site and event is, as you said, from December through to spring, right? So how can people make arrangements to come see that? I mean, who do they have to contact, or can they just show up at the park, or how's that work?
So during the breeding season, 8 weeks prior to the date that you want to go is when the tickets open up, and you go on to, I believe it's the Coastside State Park's website. If you honestly just Google elephant seal tours, it'll take you to the right place.
Right, okay.
So during the breeding season, you must be on a tour because the elephant seals are on the paths, and
Yeah.
it is our job to get everybody around safely.
Right.
So you basically sign up for your tour time, and rain or shine. If it's rainy and windy, the seals love it. You cannot bring umbrellas, so you need to dress accordingly. There are usually some open tours that are left during the day that if you show up early in the morning, there's a good chance they can get you onto an open tour, but I would not depend on that.
Right.
If you can book ahead, I would book
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
When it's the non-breeding season, you do not need any reservations. You can just come to the park, and you can just hike out, and there's always the docent volunteers. We're always dressed in red, and we're always out at the different viewpoints.
Okay. So yes, be prepared for a bit of a hike, right?
Yeah, for Año Nuevo, you do have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
It is usually about 2 miles out to the seals. During the breeding season, the loop of the actual tour itself is less than a mile once you get to them.
Right.
So it's not, but then you still have to plan for the hike back as well.
Right.
And on the tours, you cannot leave the tour in the middle of it. So if you have a child and a child is tired, unless there's a complete and utter emergency that's happening, in which case we have to make arrangements to have someone safely escort you out of the preserve.
Right.
You are on the tour until the tours are over, and they're about an hour and a half long.
Right. Now, there is a viewing point for disabled people if they want to see, isn't there?
There are, and a lot of people don't know about that, so thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
So we do have ADA tours, which again you book on the website, and they are no difference in price. And there is a bus, an accessible bus, that meets you in the parking lot and takes you out to a viewing area that sometimes we can get to with the public, sometimes we can't on the regular tours, depends where the seals are. But there is an accessible platform that walkers, wheelchairs, all of those things can still come out and see the seals.
Yeah. Okay, so don't miss it if you're in the area.
And
Big
not
recommendation.
everybody has to be disabled. Like
No.
you are a family group, and you have one person who's disabled, the whole family group can go on
Right.
the
Right.
accessible
Or if
tours.
they impeded walking, surely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like some
yeah.
people just have a hard time and can't make that.
Yeah,
that
can't
hike.
make that hike.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, but however you get there, It's just a true spectacle.
It is amazing. We have a lot of school groups that come out, and there are programs for schools as well. So
Yeah.
anyone that's with schools that thinks a school tour would be something they would like to do, they can contact the park. Sometimes there may even be help with a transportation cost depending on what's available.
Okay. Now, you spent 2 years as a volunteer researching for the Monterey Bay Whale Watch, right?
Yeah, so this is part of my quest for I always want to learn more. So I had been on a whale watch and talked to some of the deckhands, and they're like, "Well, you should be a research intern." And I said, "Oh, what's that?"
Right.
And basically, it's usually college students that are doing this. So a lot of them kind of looked at me and said, "How did you get here?" I was kind of like the mom intern. So I would only go out one day a week versus like the couple of week blocks that most college students do. But our job was to go out and depending on it, we would keep track of the whales that were spotted, latitude, longitude, the water temperature at the time, what the animals were doing, and we would try to get identification photos, and then we would upload all of that into a database that is accessible to the large research organizations like Cascadia,
Right.
and for Happy Whale, which does all of the identification, especially of the humpback whales in Monterey Bay.
Yeah. Yes, we had a lady who rescued whales, Peggy Staff, with a Monterey Whale Watch. And she told me that out there in our coast, it's like the Serengeti.
It is.
She said it's the marine equivalent of the Serengeti with all the species out there.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because I don't think people understand how much is out there.
Well, first I'll touch upon the reason.
Yeah.
So the Monterey Bay is split in half by a canyon called the Submarine Canyon, which is actually bigger than the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
And the canyon goes all the way up to land at Moss Landing. So that canyon is just nutrient dense, and there's a constant upwelling of nutrients from the canyon, which is one of the things that attracts all of these different species into the Monterey Bay. So we have multiple marine mammal species. So we've got all of the different seals. So we've got the California sea lions. We get the fur seals, so the northern fur seals, Guadalupe fur seals. Occasionally we'll see stellar sea lions, which come mostly from the Pacific Northwest, and they're much bigger. They're very impressive. And then, of course, we have elephant seals and harbor seals. And who am I forgetting? I think that's probably most of them. So that's kind of most of our pinnipeds or the flipperfoot. With our whales, we get incredible whale species.
Yeah.
And even just looking at the post from the whale watch companies right now, there's been a big upwelling of krill. And so now we have a bunch of blue whales that are out in the bay as we speak.
Oh,
So people have been seeing
after
blue
the
whales. When we see blue whales, which of course are the largest mammal on Earth,
yes.
we also tend to see fin whales. Fin whales are the fastest of all the whales.
Okay.
And we also get minke whales, which we jokingly call slinky minkies, because the minke whale will pop up and disappear.
Yeah.
We get Baird's beaked whales. We get, of course, the killer whales. Everyone always wants to see killer whales.
Right.
Seasonally, the gray whales pass through, so we get gray whales as well. We have a lot of different porpoise and dolphin species. So there's harbor porpoise, there's Dall's porpoise, We have Risso's dolphins, common dolphins, Pacific white-sided dolphins, northern right whale dolphins. And it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
So the marine mammals alone are insane.
Right.
We also have incredible, like, different fish species. Like there's mola molas, which are sunfish.
Yeah.
Like some of the largest fish you could ever see. Like they thousands of pounds. Like these big fish, they look like big kind of floating kites.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different shark species as well. Now, sharks are a little harder to see because they're not mammals. They do not have to come up to breathe air. So if a shark decides to be at the surface, you see it. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. So, but sometimes we can see sharks as well.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but there are tours set up to go and see all of this along the coast, right?
There's a lot of different whale watch companies, and pretty much you can just go online and find them. There's whale watch companies leave from Santa Cruz. My favorite is to go from Moss Landing because that's where the canyon ends.
Right.
So oftentimes you can start seeing animals more quickly. Blue Ocean Whale Watch is one of my absolute favorite companies to go with, and they were actually just, I think, ranked #1 for Monterey Bay.
Yeah.
So an incredible captain. Kate is wonderful, very comfortable boat, and they're very respectful on their approaches to the whales. And also in sharing what they're seeing with all the other captains.
Right.
There is Sanctuary Cruises. It's a biodiesel boat, so that also goes out of Moss Landing. Those two are like my favorite for Moss Landing, and then of course there's a lot of different boats that go out from Monterey.
Yeah. And even if you just want to go kayaking around Moss Landing, of course, and the what is it? The slough there.
Yeah, so the Elkhorn Slough is kind of a special place.
Yeah.
So just like Monterey Bay in general is special, at the kind of like the center of Monterey Bay where Moss Landing is, there's some water that kind of snakes up that is like smooth water, so it's not going to make you motion sick.
Right.
And that's called the Elkhorn Slough. One of the other exciting things about me and animals here are the success stories of conservation. The southern sea otter, due to the fur trade, was hunted to almost extinction. There were between 20 and 50 animals that were left.
Jeez.
And they were actually down in Big Sur.
And when was that?
That was at the peak of the fur trade, so that was probably like early
50s?
early mid 1900s.
Oh, okay then. Early,
So what they were basically hunted for fur, but in Big Sur the cliffs are so steep that the fur trappers could not get to this particular population.
Right.
So they got all the rest of them. But now the otters have been protected and their numbers are coming back. So there's I think it's about 2,500 to 3,000 otters now that came from 20 to 50. So again, genetic bottleneck, but they're coming back.
Yeah.
And 5 to 10% of that population lives in the Elkhorn Slough.
Is that right?
So if you want to see the southern sea otters, the Elkhorn Slough is one of the best places to go.
Right.
You will see rafts of males. You will see females with pups. They breed year round. There is no breeding season for them. You can go out on the slough. You can rent kayak. You can take kayak tours. You can go out on pontoon boats with naturalists. So there's Monterey Bay Eco Tours Elkhorn Slough, which is an electric boat, or one of my favorites is Elkhorn Slough Safari.
Right.
Because what a lot of people don't realize is the slough has been protected by the Packard family of Hewlett Packard. Oh, really? So that's the family that initially that protected the slough and kept it from getting filled in and developed. So it's very interesting to kind of hear the history of the slough and to go out there, and you'll not only see otters, harbor seals hang out there, and especially usually around March or April, that's their pupping season. So you see harbor seals pupping. The amount of seabirds is amazing.
Oh yeah. Huge.
And that's why when you go out with a naturalist, they can pretty much tell you everything that you're seeing.
Yeah.
So it's a real special place, and a place where I take everybody that comes to visit.
Yeah, it's a wonderful spot. Absolutely. I went kayaking there, and the otters were following the kayak, and they're so sweet. Oh my God, they're sweet.
Most of them have flipper tags too, so you will see that now. They're doing a lot of research on the otters and on the carrying capacity of the slough. So a lot of times when you go out there, you will see them with colorful little tags on their flippers, and that's for identification processes for the research that's happening.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, the canyon actually emits the most perfect air for us to breathe, isn't it? It helps a bit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that too is also our kelp forests.
Yes.
Kelp forests are like they sequester carbon dioxide.
Exactly.
So we need our kelp forests,
Yeah.
and we need our otters for the kelp forest. So people don't always realize otters are a keystone species.
Oh.
So they tell us a lot about the health of the environment. So the otters will eat purple urchins.
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
the purple sea urchins will kill kelp.
Yeah.
They just kind of like gnaw at the base of the kelp, and then the kelp just floats away. It's not like they're even eating the whole strands.
Yeah.
But where there's a lot of urchins, we'll have what are called urchin barrens, and there's just no kelp. And when you think of how much we need the kelp for our own air, it's really amazing.
Yes, that is amazing.
So we need
that is not
we need
a
our
terribly
others.
well-known fact
It
in my
is-
world, anyway.
Yeah. So
You know.
we have like again, it's just kind of how everything interacts and protects us. So people don't realize we need those otters.
Yes.
Those otters have a very important function
Wow.
for keeping our own atmosphere
Yes. Yes. Then we have the lovely Monterey Bay Aquarium, of course, which is where you can see otters up close.
healthy. Yes.
And many other species too, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Monterey Bay Aquarium is one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And you could even see big kelp forests, and you could see full-size models of the whales hanging from the ceiling. You could go outside, and sometimes you'll even see whales like spouting. You can see them like out in the
Just
bay.
out in the bay, yeah.
And I've seen otters right out there as well.
Right.
But the amount of research that the aquarium does and their contributions to keeping the bay healthy is amazing. It's not just a for-profit, hey, come look at this kind
Right.
of place.
Right.
They have the whole MBARI, which is the Monterey Bay Area Research Institute, which is actually in Moss Landing.
Right. Okay.
So it's a huge research institute. Sometimes when you go out of Moss Landing, you can see the big research vessels, and those are amazing. These are the ships that they send out into the ocean. They have the unmanned submarines that they drop down. They
yeah?
are discovering new species in the bay, in the Monterey Bay, like
Really?
right here, every day.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I know. It's,
So that's one of my favorite displays that they've got at the Monterey Bay Aquarium right now is the Into the Deep.
yeah.
And it's a lot of the different jellyfish and things that are found at incredible depths. And the research they've had to do to maintain, because these animals are brought in from the wild, and I do believe they get returned. I do believe some of them get returned. I'm not really sure on that. I can't swear to that. But
Right.
but they have to. They do bring water in from the bay, and they have incredible like machinery setups for the filtration that it takes to keep these animals healthy and alive. And again, like, how do you even learn that? The pressure is so different that far down. So these have to be pressurized tanks.
Right.
I mean, so it's absolutely amazing
Yeah.
when you really start thinking about what it takes for this aquarium to be
function,
able
yeah.
to show us
Yeah.
what they can show us.
Yeah. Ah. So another one. Don't miss it if you're in the area.
Never miss don't miss the aquarium.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a rich area, for many reasons. And so, I mean, how did you get inspired to start painting these wonderful creatures?
I think anytime I feel in awe, which doesn't take much, right? I mean, I'm excited by banana slugs. Okay, like it's just when you see things in their natural world, in their natural environments, doing what they do, and we are fortunate enough to be allowed to see it.
Yeah.
Like when I just have to share it. So I've painted like breaching whales.
Yeah.
Because I cannot tell you how long I waited wanting to see a whale breach.
Yeah.
Just wanting to see a whale breach so badly. And then you go out on the boat one day and you get a jumpy calf. Like humpback whale calves are nursing, right? They're not feeding. So while mom has to feed, they're just jumping all over. I mean, I saw one calf, I think he breached over 100 times. I mean, it was just crazy. So, like, to be able to watch this and just watch the fun and the joy of this animal,
Yeah.
he's just playing.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to share that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
The harbor seals at Elkhorn Slough during the pupping season, like when you actually start seeing the like noticing, like really watching them, and it's not just a size difference, it's a color difference, it's a pattern difference in the fur, and you see the moms, you know, how much they take care of their pups. Like I did a painting called Sealed with a Kiss, and it's just a mom and her pup harbor seal, like nose to nose, from what I experienced in the Elkhorn Slough. And then of course the otters are just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of otter paintings because they make you smile.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no doubt.
So when you see these things, I mean, they make you feel good, and that just makes me want to share.
Yeah. So have you drawn or painted all your life, or is it just something you decided on this inspiration?
I think probably like most children, I was always drawing.
Yeah.
I used to. My sister and I, long car rides would draw what we saw in the clouds, which for me were always animals, because everything about me is animals. So I did, high school art classes and things of that sort. But then when I got to college, my focus was veterinary school, and that's an intense program.
Yes.
So getting into veterinary school and then veterinary school, I really didn't have any time for drawing or art. It wasn't until after I graduated and started practice and my son was born that I started doing painting classes with my sister. And yet everything that I chose to paint, because when you paint, you're putting your own emotions onto the canvas.
Yes.
So for me, I've always painted animals, and they've been things that I've seen. Like, I'm not going to take a photo that I found online and paint it, because I don't have an emotional attachment to that.
Right.
I just started finding that as a way to revisit experiences that I had, and to share them with other people, and to hopefully, there's a different connection, I think, that you make when you're looking at a painting. And I do a lot of photography, and I have a lot of friends that are photographers, and it is an art form, and I'm never going to say that it's not. But there's a different level of connection with the painting, I think.
Right, right.
So I find as a way to try to inspire people to get them to either want to come and see these things for themselves.
Right, right.
Or to bring it inside, so that when you're in your house and you're stuck in your day-to-day, you can look up and see something of nature. And you can just, it helps ground you.
Oh, absolutely.
And connect you.
Yeah, so, nature definitely grounds you.
Yeah, so it's all kind of come full circle with me. So any experiences that I have, I want to share, and my art is a way to share it.
Fair enough. Now, you're so immersed between docenting, painting, I mean, volunteering. I mean, but there are dangers out there to our coast. What perturbs you the most of, what can possibly go wrong, from drilling to, any kind of pollution? Yeah,
plastics are a big problem. We have microplastics. We have microplastics in our bloodstream now. They're finding microplastics, in fetal tissue. I mean, so plastics are a big danger. And plastics, let's face it, originate from oil, so that's putting a whole other draw on oil.
Right.
So I think plastics are a huge problem, and people, I think one of the things that probably bothers me the most is people leaving trash in natural areas. On the beaches. One, there's plenty of garbage cans. Why do you have to leave your trash?
Right.
All of our convenience foods, all of our individually packaged convenience things, it's really easy to put things into little containers that you bring with you, rather than have all of these little bags and wraps and all of that everywhere. I think we have a little more awareness here just because we're on the coast, but when I go back home to the Midwest, they're still serving things in styrofoam cups. They're still sending things home in styrofoam. Everybody's using plastic bags. No one's bringing their own shopping bags.
Right.
All of these little changes that we can make, they're just like, why should we? And I think that attitude is what really, we are stewards of this land.
Yeah.
We aren't owners of it. We aren't the be-all, end-all, and everything's supposed to serve us. We have to accept responsibility and make the little changes that we can. But I think so the pollution of microplastics is big. The threat to the offshore drilling that is with our current administration is something that we do need to be scared of.
Yeah.
We can't really change as much of the ship strikes that we have with the whales. I mean, that's something that's constantly being worked at by both ends. We have happywhale.com is one of the places you can send your photos if you get the fluke of, like the underside of the tail of a humpback whale when they go to dive, you can send that photo into Happy Whale, and they'll tell you who that whale is.
Oh.
They actually have identified, I think, 95% of the humpbacks that come into Monterey Bay.
Wow.
Know them. But it's more than just well, this is fun, because it also sends you updates when the whale's seen other places.
Yes.
So, like, you get to, like, find out when the whale comes back.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything, they just do this. But through that recognition, they've been able to identify the population of whales that come here, and also the routes that the whales are traveling.
Yeah.
So if we find the whales constantly are coming through a certain area where there's a lot of ships, they can alter the ship lanes
Oh.
to try to reduce some of the. I mean, we still do have ship strikes; they still happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting, like people working together. Same with the crab fishermen.
Yes.
You know, we do have the new crab pots that don't have the strings.
Right.
Because the strings of the crab pots, whales are curious.
Yes,
and
Peggy Staff was
they get
talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get entangled.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so we have these new pots, but those pots cost money, and so we do need to support the crab fishermen more to do these things that are going to cause less damage to our whales.
Right.
So I do think we need to support some of the ocean cleanup. Like, there's some incredible technologies and ideas and projects that small people are coming up with, but nobody hears about it, so they don't have the funding. And there's just ways that we can clean up some of these, like, god-awful, like, spinning garbage, swirls in the ocean. So there's so many things out there that I think we just need to give more support for the people that are making a difference.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember that there was a huge influx of anchovy into the harbour here, and there were so many of them that they actually all died because there wasn't enough oxygen in the water for all of them.
Yeah,
Do you
that's a
remember
good
that?
time to be whale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whales were feeding like crazy.
Right.
Yeah, so and some of them were just actually washing up on them. I remember them flopping all over on the beaches.
Right.
Just coming in the waves, and the pelicans were like all over, and
Yeah.
there's like fish everywhere. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But we also have concerns with. I mean, we always talk about climate change and the ice caps melting. But it's the whole trickle-down effect of that people don't realize. The gray whales, I think there's 25 to 40 gray whales that have been washing up on the coast in the past few months.
Oh, really?
And most of them are starving.
Oh.
And they're starving because their feeding grounds are up north where the ice caps are, but they don't have as much food up there because of the changing ocean conditions.
Wow.
So then they go down south to breed, and they're not feeding down there, and they're trying to make the swim back up, and they just don't have enough body stores to make the swim back.
Yeah.
So we have to pay attention to things like that. And then with our ocean conditions changing, you get a different algae bloom, and then we hear a lot about domoic acid, which they think may have killed or contributed to the death of the 2 humpbacks that washed up here. It's something produced by a certain algae,
Yeah.
and it causes neurologic problems. And we normally see it in a lot of our sea lions.
Yeah.
We'll have sea lions that are falling over and can't swim because it causes neurologic issues. So if we're not paying attention to our ocean conditions, and we have more of these different algae blooming and maybe more toxins being produced, we can have a lot of scary stuff happening. We just had a scare of avian influenza at Año Nuevo this year.
Yes, you did. Oh gosh, that was scary for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the park actually got closed, which doesn't happen.
Right.
Because they did not want to risk the spread.
Right.
And we were very fortunate in that it was a small number of animals that got killed, whereas there's also a southern elephant seal. And in 2023, I think over 10,000 animals died of avian influenza in Argentina.
Gosh.
So, there's all of these different things that we always have to, watch, but we also have to realize that our impact on the environment impacts everything.
Yeah.
And so the changes we can make that are little are worth making.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that's really surprised you recently, or since you've been here, that you just didn't realize before?
Oh goodness.
Is there anything you can think of that surprised you?
It's one of the things that I'm not sure if it's a surprise as much as how I think it's really cool, is kind of going back to Happy Whale. And they actually use Facebook algorithms for facial identification.
Okay.
to identify these whales.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was kind of surprising me. I was like, I'm not a big fan of tech.
Yes.
And I'm married to someone in tech, so,
Yeah.
but I'm not a technology person.
Right.
But when you see ways when it's being used to make a positive impact and a positive difference, that excites me.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, as for other surprises, I don't know. I guess everything is new to me and everything's exciting to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. 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 And you also are going to take art classes into Africa, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yeah?
so that is, one of my newest projects that I have going on is teaching workshops.
Mm-hmm.
So I am teaching my first workshop in South Africa, and that will be this September.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a ladies only safari, and it's
What, they're all leaving together, or they all meet there?
We're all going to meet in Johannesburg.
Oh, right, okay.
Because people are coming from different places.
Right.
So I'm trying to create a model that incorporates making the true connection to the place. So conservation is important. So I'm choosing companies to work with that I know are conservation focused, which also means community support.
Right.
So it's got to be holistic. So we are going to have some time with conservation teams. We are going to, of course, be on safari, and on this trip we have a photographic lead as well, because it's a photographic safari company that I'm working with. So we'll have a photography lead. We will be working with conservation teams, and then I'll be leading the art workshop, going through art basics and then how to get started. Because if you have your foundation, and if you can build the foundation of a painting, it's easier to continue it on your own.
Right, right.
And then in February, I'm doing the same in Kenya. So I'm working with another group, and just, again, conservation as well as safari as well as art. I'm providing all of the supplies. I don't want people being stressed about buying supplies,
Right.
especially if they don't know if they'll ever want to do it again.
Yeah.
And then an interesting thing that's kind of developed from this, because one thing always leads to another,
Yeah.
is initially, like for workshops that I've done, I've always appreciated it when I've had notes, because I'm an avid note taker,
Yeah.
but I like when I have something to go on. So I started compiling notes from the different workshops that I've done and from books that I've read, and it turned into a book. So I currently have basically it's a full art course for wildlife painting and oils, and the book will be going to the publisher hopefully next week.
Oh,
So
exciting.
very quickly, very soon I will be a published author, and it is a book that's for any level.
Yeah.
But the whole first half of the book isn't even painting. It's all about fundamentals. It's all about, choosing what evokes some, like, your own emotions.
Yeah,
Because it's your
yeah.
emotions that go into painting.
Right.
So that will be given to all the participants at the workshops, but it will be available for sale as well. So
Where will be?
Well, I still have to work with the publisher on that.
Right,
But
okay.
there will be an ebook available,
Yeah.
as well as a print available, probably in the regular Amazons and
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
that. But I don't have that worked out yet, because we're in the final edit of the book.
Very good. Well, that's very
Yeah,
exciting.
so that was a project I wasn't expecting. But
Yeah.
so that's kind of,
Yeah.
so
And
it's-
so what part of Kenya are you going to?
So with the Kenya trip, we're pretty much going to all of my favorites. So we will be starting actually in Nairobi, at Nairobi National Park, and
I know,
one of
yeah.
the tented camps. Assuming there are some things happening with Monterey Bay National Park right now. So assuming everything is still okay, we will be going there.
Right.
We'll also be traveling to Old Pejeta, which Old Pejeta is one of my favorites, which I know you've
Yeah,
talked before.
yeah.
It is where the last remaining northern white rhinos are. They have had a tremendous impact on saving black rhinos from extinction. They also have a lot of other different species. There's bad-eared foxes, there's lions, et cetera, et cetera. And they do a lot of community work. I've actually been donating drawings to their Name a Rhino program, and I'm kind of doing a little artist agreement with them right now.
Yeah.
But so we'll go to Old Pejeta. We will also be going to the Masai Mara. And let's see. So yeah, Nairobi and Amboseli.
Amboseli. Oh yeah, very
Have to go
diverse
to Amboseli. You have to
areas.
see Kilimanjaro.
Yeah,
And, well,
yeah.
hopefully see Kilimanjaro if the weather's cooperating.
Yeah, and that's where all the Ellies are too.
That's where the big herds of elephants.
Yeah, yeah.
And we may or may not have optional extension to go to Samburu, because Samburu is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I have lots of favorites. They're all my favorites. So yeah.
And they're all different. So
They're all different.
Yeah.
But the camp that we're going with, the Game Watcher Safaris, is who I'm working with, and they're one of the like mid-grade safaris, so it's more affordable.
Yeah.
But the camps are beautiful. They're very comfortable. Hot showers, flushing toilets. Have to have our necessities.
Yeah.
And incredibly good food.
Yes.
And good, responsible drivers. And they're
All very fresh and prepared right there for you, right?
The food is amazing. Everyone's like, what do you eat in Africa? I'm like, well, Kenya's actually an agricultural country.
Yes.
Like, most people don't realize
That's
that.
wonderful produce.
Yeah, I was like, you get great vegetables.
Yeah,
So,
indeed. Yeah, so where can people find information if they want to join?
So in terms of the workshops, I would say the easiest thing would be to either go onto my website or to email me directly. So my website is www.michelle, MICHELLE, McCune, MCCUNE,
Yeah.
You can also find me on Instagram at Michelle McCune DVM Art. You can find me on Facebook at Michelle McCune DVM. Or you can just email me directly at m.mccune@sbcglobal.net.
Right.
So if you sign up for my email list on my website, all my notifications of things go there.
Yeah.
But also they're also posted on Facebook.
Right. And is there a deadline for signing up?
Actually, for the September trip, you pretty much, if someone really wanted to go, we could probably make it happen. But for the trip in February, I don't really think there's any deadline. I think when you sign up, it's all going through Game Watchers.
Yeah.
So you can also contact Game Watchers Safaris, and it will be on their website as well, because they are handling all the booking, all of the payment, everything else.
Okay.
So they're established there, and that's the safest way to do it.
Right. So that's GameWatchersSafari.com. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
so very easy to find. Or again, if there's any questions, people can always reach out to me, and I can let them know, and send the link to where to sign up.
yep. Okay. Well, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's gonna be lovely, and I'll also be at the Los Altos Fine Art in the park show August 8th and 9th. Yeah, 8th and 9th.
Oh yeah.
So I will be at booth 102, I believe. So if anybody wanted to come see my art,
Sure.
my book will be there. I will
Yes.
have my book in print by
Yes.
that point. Or just wanted to know more about the safaris, you can always just come find me at the Los Altos show.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Los Altos. Okay. And August what again?
8th and 9th.
8th and 9th. Okay. So make a note in the diary for that one.
Yeah, it is an absolutely lovely show. It is a show where it is all higher end, like more fine art. So I recommend anyone coming to the show. It's a really, really nicely run show by the Rotary.
Right. Okay. Oh, Rotary. Okay. Yeah, I have not been, but that's one to add for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So when you are speaking to people, they must realize that you've got yourself so embedded with this marine life here. But what would be your recommendation for somebody that was in your position, that you had to take another path, although you of course enjoyed it and made it very successful, but right at the core there was something else. So what would you say to people like that?
I think you just have to keep digging deep and figuring out what is calling you, and then find little ways to make it happen. Like I said, I started with going on a whale watch when we were on vacation. Right. It was just little things here and there. Watching, there's so many great documentaries, and that would just fuel my passion even more, as well as give me more information. There's always information out there, so I would say you kind of have to create your own path. Like there isn't any one answer, and sometimes you'll end up on a path that you don't even know you're on until you've gotten to an observation deck, so to speak, of life. So yeah, I remember when I was starting out with art, I was very frustrated because I had 2 toddlers at home, and I was working, and I went to one workshop, and I was pretty much told, well, there's nothing else you could really do right now.
There you go.
You just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't accept that. So I couldn't maybe go down the path that other people went down, but I kind of found my own. When I went out to Año Nuevo, when my house wasn't even unpacked, and I went out there because I had to go and see these elephant seals again. It was calling me out there, And then one of the docents is like, well, you should become a docent to do the docent training.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what's that?
Yes, yes.
It's a free program.
Is it free?
So these state parks, every state park, they have docents. Docents are trained volunteers.
Yes.
They're educated volunteers.
Yeah.
And we had 80 hours of classes.
Wow.
We met, I think it was like 10 weeks for 8 hours.
Yes.
That we would meet, and they would teach us all sorts of different things about animals, about the history of the park, about just the area, and about being a naturalist,
Yeah.
and about leading tours, because that's not something a lot of people have done. So they're like, you should do this. So the next thing I know, I'm like, I got home, I signed up for the docent training, and like a month later it was starting. And so I just jumped right in and became a docent. It's a 2-day-a-month commitment, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
And it's people of all ages and all backgrounds that are docents. Like people, if they can't do the hike, they can, work at the staging area or work in the store. I mean, there's all these different ways to kind of give back to the park.
Right.
But it also provided me with a way to learn more and feel that I was making a contribution. And again, it's sometimes you just need to ask and just talk to people.
Yeah.
I never would have volunteered on the whale watch boat if I hadn't talked to the naturalists and said, I'm really interested in this stuff. What can I do?
Right. Just ask.
And then, like, you just asked. And then, so one of the naturalists, he's like, here's my email, just email me. He put me in touch with the next person. So just be curious. I think that's the best advice I can give, is be curious and ask. Worst thing that can happen is nothing. Or someone says no. Okay, if they say no, then you ask another person.
Right.
You just keep, you find your rhythm, you find your way, and if something doesn't change right away, that's okay. Maybe it's not time yet.
Yeah, timing is important. Yeah.
But I would just keep being curious, keep asking questions,
Yeah.
and keep learning.
Yeah.
That's the best advice I think I can give anyone.
Right. Yeah. But you must have had a passion yourself to have just moved and then sign up as a docent. I think I would have had a breakdown myself.
Yeah, well, I decided I was gonna, if we were moving from Illinois to California, mind you, taking 2 kids out of high school, in the middle of high school,
that
and moving
too.
them
Yes.
to the mountains.
Yes.
Yes, where we're kind of isolated. Yeah, there were all sorts of different things. But I wanted to really just embrace the area and say I'm finally in a place where I can be outside. I'm surrounded by more nature and more diversity than I have ever had the privilege of living in.
Right.
And I am going to live it.
Yes.
And so I made that decision.
Yes.
And, yes, I had to make some, there's always give and take, but it was probably one of the best decisions for us that we came out here.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've had guests, and we end up saying we are so blessed being in this area. Sorry, but
What the amazing thing for me is, so when I'm out as a docent, again, I mentioned we have school tours.
Yeah.
And we'll have school groups come out, and some of these kids have never seen the ocean.
Wow.
And they're from the San Jose schools.
Really? Wow.
So when you say what surprises you, actually, you know what? That surprised the heck out of me.
Yes.
I'm like, all sorts of different economic backgrounds, of course, but I'm like, the ocean is, they don't have to be up at Año Nuevo, right?
No,
they haven't
no.
seen the ocean. The ocean is a 30-minute drive.
Exactly, from San Jose. Yes, it is.
And there are children who have never seen the ocean.
That's incredible.
So
that's shocking more than surprising.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing, especially living in this area, is realizing, while we know, I guess maybe since we haven't lived here our whole lives and we've come into this area, we can see just how much there is here.
Yeah.
And we can really appreciate it in a different way.
Yes.
When there's so many people that live there their entire lives. And I mean, the number of people that are local that I'm like, have you ever been out here with the elephant seals? Like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you've never been here. We have a species that was declared extinct 3 times.
Right.
That just because of the protection of the the marine protected areas of the Monterey Bay, a lot of people don't realize almost the entire coast of California has some level of protection.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I mean, yay, California.
Yeah.
But these animals went from almost declared extinct to a healthy population just because we protected the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
And said, oh, by the way, don't kill them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so
Yeah.
so it's just amazing. But there's so many people they don't even realize what a jackpot they're actually living in.
Right. Yes. So there's the message. Ask questions. Go out, see it. You know, there's a lot you can get involved with.
Be curious.
Yeah.
Find your inner child.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it. Be curious. I mean, again, banana slugs, right? Like, I mean, okay, people are like, yeah, okay, fine. But I have a whole bunch of banana slug photos on my phone. But they're really, but I get curious.
Yeah,
You know, I start looking at them and kind of like wondering what they're doing. And then like I noticed on their little body that there's like a hole on the one side, but then there wasn't a hole on the other side. So then I had to go home and I had to research banana slugs. And sure enough, they just have this one little air pore on the one side.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know, because, I mean, why not? You know, it's just something different. I mean, they're watching them move, watching the little slime trails.
Yeah.
Like, be a child again.
Yeah.
Like, get excited again. Like, don't we all miss that?
Right.
Like, don't we, like, when you see kids at Christmas and just how their eyes light up.
Yeah.
I miss that feeling. So I just let my inner child take over sometimes.
There you go.
And
yeah. And banana slugs are in the redwood forest, aren't
they're
they?
Yep. So we, you see them a lot in the St. Marks. You can see them at Henry Cowell. You can see them pretty much anywhere that there's redwoods. But they're the mascot of UC Santa Cruz.
There you go.
So
So if you've never seen a banana slug, go to the forest and check them out.
Go for a walk in the redwoods.
Yeah.
Breathe the fresh air.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just live it up.
Live it up.
Yep.
Ask questions. Be curious.
Yep.
And just get outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Michelle, it's been a joy. Thank you.
It's always lovely talking with you, Susan.
We'll have to come back after your art classes and let's hear more about what happened then.
Oh, yep. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Because hopefully after the Africa art courses, I'm hoping to do a follow-up art course somewhere locally.
Oh, right. So maybe here, Chez Serendip.
Yeah, I think this would be a lovely place to have a wildlife painting workshop. So anyone local that would be interested, you know, if I have a lot of interest, I will make it happen.
Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. I'll see you later then.
Bye.
Bye. Many thanks to Michelle for her insights. I was truly impressed by her deep knowledge of our wonderful Monterey Bay and the Central Coast. She showed us how powerful it can be to get out there, reconnect with what you love, and find yourself again. I wholeheartedly endorse her encouragement to listeners. Explore these incredible places. You never know. You might just discover you'd love becoming a docent at one of our beautiful California state parks, like Año Nuevo. If today's conversation inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a restart. I'm Susan Douglas. Thanks for listening. Playing you out with Madame Rose Sylvie.
Acabei de alcançar o mar. Esse é o lugar pra se adequar. É bom seu ar só pra relaxar. Vou caminhar, depois nadar. Pegar o barco e mergulhar. Minhas feridas vão cicatrizar. Não tenho medo, basta sonhar. Tem arte quase em todo lugar.